comes up. Okay, this is our presentation for our chosen application. We're going to be doing a home teaching companion app. Slide. So here's the issue that we're trying to address, is in most elders quorums, it's difficult to report home teaching. You don't know who your district leader is, and sometimes you don't even know your routes. And so we're going to be going over some of these updates to these routes, and since people are always coming in and out of the ward, companionships are changing, and it's always going to be different. It's never the same. Of course, they always get that announcement towards the end of the month, don't forget to do your home teaching. This is going to be a good way to remind people, and this is going to make an easy way to create statistical reporting. So for our solutions, we're going to be granting access to those who have abilities in their calling, like say for the Elders Quorum presidency, to view reports, make changes to companionships, families, households. This is all done from a centralized database. And so those routes, companions, and families are always changed and updated. In addition, if the end of the month is coming up and home teaching has not been reported, that particular home teacher will receive a pop-up notification to remind them to get their home teaching done. In addition, once that home teaching assignment is complete, they can simply report that this particular family has been home taught for the month, which gets sent to that district leader. Slide.
Okay, so for the intended audience for our project, generally speaking, this is just going to be members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Generally speaking, it will be the priesthood holders that will be using this app, as well as it would be our goal that those priesthood holders are able to use it even with zero to minimal technology background. So, even Grandpa Joe, who's 60, will be able to report his home teaching this method. So anyone that is called to be a home teacher will hopefully be able to use this methodology for their home teaching reporting. If we go to the next slide, as far as our project and class requirements goes, in the ways that we hope to fulfill these class requirements, as far as our Java collections, our families class will be a group of objects containing families and their members. We'll have diagrams that are available. Our serialization will be something that will happen as the data is stored and will be displayed in alphabetical order. Families and companions will be stored in databases. We'll be using URL connections, JUnit tests to test our methodologies, model view controllers, and thread and executors and runnables and handlers for multiple process and exception handling.
So our project methodology that we've chosen is Scrum. The reason for this is for the ability for us to create a product backlog. This works well with multiple people because they can come into the product backlog, pick up a item, or we can review the items together weekly to decide which ones need to be built next as part of our weekly sprint meetings, and have the group work together to get that functionality created. As part of this, we plan on rotating the Scrum Master functionality so that none of us gets too overburdened, and also we get the opportunity to learn from that role. As far as our daily stand-up meetings, we feel it would be best, due to scheduling and conflicts, to just report via email for any statuses that have been completed, as well as any issues that we've encountered during our troubles. Our use case diagram is as follows. There are basically two users for the system. You have the presidency and the stake leader, or the district leaders, and then on top of that you have the elders. The presidency and district leaders will be able to manage the system entirely, from viewing reports, adding and removing members and companionships, changing permissions, as well as viewing the families and visits that are logged from the elders. The elders will have a smaller subset of that functionality where they can at least view their family and log their visits. On top of this, they can also send reminders to companions as needed, either on an individual basis or whenever members and companionships are modified or added.
All right, so here we have an example wireframe of what our GUI would look like, and for this specific example, it's a mobile app. From the top left, you can see the title, which would be, you know, what information you're looking at that time. Below that, you see tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. This is just an example of, you know, different informational things you could see. Depending if you're the part of the presidency or just an elder, will probably depend on what types of tabs you can see. And then below the tabs are example sections of the information that you'd be looking at. Next slide. Here is another example of what the GUI will look like, but this time just in a web browser. It'll look pretty much the same.
So the basic schedule that we have for this project is working first off to design the actual solution, the classes, the interfaces is the way they should look, and any diagrams that are associated with them. After we've developed that understanding of how we need to move forward, which is basically our roadmap, we can then begin by designing our database and our model classes for weeks 2 and 3. Week 4, we can create the control classes, which allow us to make the necessary modifications to the model layer and in the database. Then after that, on week 5, we can envelop all of that with our view class. That will allow us to create the user interface on the mobile applications so that the user can have a good experience with the role that they're playing in creating companionships and home teaching routes. And finally, to wound this up, we have the web interface, which allows us to have a seamless design across multiple platforms. So whether it be on a mobile or a desktop environment, you can access the same data. The final week will be any tests and bug corrections that we have to create or do as part of this, as part of developing this application. And that is our application for the Home Teaching Companion. We hope you enjoyed it, and have a good day.